Hey everyone, Trace here. Hey everyone, Trace here. Today I'm going to show you how to make this star fold card. And isn't that really neat and very unique? And it does have a lot of steps to it, but I will go step by step with you on the measurements and all of that. And so when you open it up, it folds right out. And this one here I made for the Made It Instagram design team, and it was a color challenge of yellow, red, and blue. So that is why it's those colors. And so I do want to make another one to show you how to do that with a little bit of a different design. So when you're folding this together, it's kind of like putting it together in as you would a box when you're closing up a box. So you do one flap and then the other and the third. And so this is the area where it has to be folded under. So I just kind of lift the entire piece here, fold that under, and there you go. So here are the supplies that you're going to need. I'm going to use the stamp set Celestial, and so I'm going to use probably a starfish because I want to kind of use a theme of the star or the starfish. So I'm going to use those stamps and probably the sentiments. I am going to use the inks of Mermaid Lagoon and Salty Ocean. They really match with the paper that I have here. And some art glitter glue. As far as tools go, you're going to need a scoreboard, and I have the Martha Stewart old-fashioned large scoreboard here, and a paper trimmer. This is the Cricut paper trimmer. This one's really awesome. And you're going to need a ruler and a bone folder and a pencil. And that's all for the tools. And for the paper that you're going to need, you need a solid color that is 12 by 12, and it's a nice weight to it. It's fairly thick, so you will have multiple layers on top of each other, so it's going to get nice and sturdy. But a 12 by 12 solid color and some DSP color. You can use 6 by 6 if you have it. I'm going to be using this 12 by 12 sheet, and most likely I will need 2 sheets, so go ahead and get you 2 of those and some white cardstock. So you will need 4 sheets of, this is 8.5 by 11 white cardstock, and it's 65 pounds, so it's pretty average. And those will be the mats. So that's all the paper you need, and supplies and tools. So let's get started. Okay, so like I said earlier, we're going to go step by step with each measurement and instructions. So for step 1, you are going to need to cut your papers ready to go. So the first one obviously is a 12 by 12. I did not cut that. It's a 12 by 12 paper. So the next one is a white cardstock, and this measures 5.5 by 4 3/4. And you will need 7 pieces of this one. So get all of those ready. And I did use 4 pieces of 8.5 by 11, like I said earlier, and I had scraps left over. And so then with the DSP, the Designer Series paper, you will need 6 of these pages, and these are cut at 4.5 by 5 1/8. And I did start off with 2 12 by 12 sheets before I started cutting that, and I have a lot of that left over with some scraps. So these are the 3 types of paper and the beginning of the sizes that you need. So 7 of these, 6 of these, and 1 of those. And moving on to step 2. Okay, next with the 12 by 12 solid color cardstock, you're going to cut off a section just to make it a little bit smaller. So that section, you're going to cut off 1 5/8 inch, just a strip of that. So the 5/8 is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's just after a half. Kind of keep that straight as could be and go ahead and cut that off. So this section is pretty good. We're not going to need that, so do save it for other things. Then next you want to put a notch on the long side, which is the 12-inch side of the sheet. You're going to put a notch at 6 inches. And so just with a pencil, just put a small notch there. So take the notch on the top here, and you're going to match up, and I hopefully to get this in camera, which it's very difficult. So with the notch here and the corner of your paper is way down here. So you want to line up the notch with the corner way down here. And once you get that nice and lined up, and I'm very specific with that because you do want to make a nice triangle here. So once you get that in the trimmer, you're going to sink that blade and cut. Once you have that, this is all scrap and plenty you can do with that, so hold that aside. Next, you want to take, with that notch is, and there's a little corner here, you're going to do the same thing on this side. You're going to line it up here and line up the very corner on the other side of the trimmer. So go ahead and line that up perfectly. Sink that blade right in there and go ahead and cut through. And again, this is scrap. So now you have a really large triangle. Now with step 3, you're going to take your white pieces, and that's 7 of them total, and you want to put a notch in the long side, which is 5.5 inch side here, and you want to measure that and notch that at 2 3/4. So go ahead and put that notch in all of the 7 pieces of your white cardstock. Then next, after that is ready, you're going to cut these in the same way that we did the large triangle. So we're going to cut these into a smaller triangle. So what you're going to do is line up the notch to the corner here. So go ahead and line those up and sink that blade into the paper and go up and go down. And so that's cut away. And next, on the other side, exactly the same as you did with the large triangle. So just line that up, sink that blade and cut. Now you have a smaller triangle. So go ahead and cut all 7 of those exactly this way. So next with the DSP, you're going to cut these into small triangles. And so on the long side, which is 5 1/8, you're going to make a notch at 2 5/8. So go ahead and notch all of these, and we're going to cut those in the same way that you did before. And so bring my trimmer where you can see it. So in the same way, you're going to put the notch here and the corner here and line those up really well. and cut that down, and same on the other side. And so go ahead and do all 6 of those. Then we're going to move on to step 4. So at this point you should have the one large solid color triangle and 7 smaller triangles in white and 6 in the DSP. So we're going to work with the white one for now, and what you need to do is put one aside. So you're going to keep one the way it is, so put that aside. Then next you're going to take one of these, and it doesn't matter which side, all of the sides should be the same. So you're going to put one side where it's straight across. You're going to put that in the trimmer at 1.5 inches. So at 1.5 inches, you're going to make sure it's nice and straight. And you're going to cut that. So you have these 2 pieces. So put that aside. So you're going to take an additional cut of 1/4 inch off. For my trimmer here, it's the very first highest notch right here, and it kind of helps to see there's a groove that starts right here, if you can kind of see. And I'll zoom in a little bit more, see where there's a groove, and that helps a lot because that's where you want it to stay. So zoom back out. So anywhere you can line up that right on that first groove, and go ahead and sink that blade and cut. So now you have just this little scrap and the other triangle, and of course this one here. So you want to do that with all of the remaining 6 pieces of the white. So just in case you need to see that again, I'm just cutting this at 1.5. And so that gives me that section, and I'm just bumping it to that first notch of my trimmer, which is 1/4 inch, and cutting that off. Next we're at step 5, and this is with the DSP triangles. You're going to cut it in the same fashion, except the measurement is just slightly different. So you want to cut it at 1.25 inches. So here, line that up nicely and go ahead and cut, getting this angle to cut here. And this cut will be at 1/2 inch. So I just scoot it over to one box from my trimmer and make sure that's lined up and it doesn't move on you like it just did for me. Hold that down nicely, and you can use the other side of the blade. A lot of folks do like that way. So again, I will show you, it is the cut at 1.25. So I bump that up to the top of the trimmer just to keep it even, and cut there, and back this up to 1/2 inch. Make sure that's straight and cut that. So go ahead and cut all of your 6 pieces of that one there. So we're moving on to scoring the large triangle. And I know you can't see this fully. I can't get the entire 12 by 12 in the shot, but I'm pretty sure you can follow along pretty well. So just put the straight side on the side of your scoreboard here. You're going to score at 5 1/4. So this groove right here, you're going to follow that along until you reach your paper. 5 1/4. Let me do that one more time. It veered off just a little bit. Okay, and then the second score will be at 7. So follow this line until you reach your paper. And keep that in there. And I would score down just a couple of times because you will be using those scores a good bit. You're going to be using those creases. So after you do those two, you're going to turn your triangle just one turn, get that nice and straight in the scoreboard, and do the exact same measurements. So that first score line is at 5 1/4. So do that again. And at 7. And then you want to turn the triangle one more time and score on those 2 marks that third time. So that is all the scoring that you're going to need. I will bring that up so you can see those lines and what that triangle looks like. So then we're going to fold it up and crease it. So for each peak here, you're going to fold up and score it, and then fold it towards you and score. And you can open them up again so you can turn it. So again, fold away from you, fold up, score, then towards you, and score again. All 3 sides. So hopefully I haven't lost you yet. This is what it's going to look like when we're just about ready to put on everything on. And we're getting to where you can kind of see it and how it's going to form and put together. And this is a fun part to me. So we're going to glue on, these are the panels. We're going to do the white ones first. So those will fit right here. And there will be a little border around the edge. So you are going to glue these down with your art glitter glue. And you're going to do all 3 of them. And you have enough to go ahead and do the other side as well. So go ahead and put down just a small amount of glue. And just glue those down. Very small. You do not need very much at all. And make sure it's nice and even to where you have a small border. So go ahead and glue down all of these. And then also when you're done with the white, go ahead and glue down your DSP, which is right here. And again, leaving a small little border. So you can really see how this is going to come together. It's really exciting. So go ahead and glue all that down and we'll be right back. So you probably guessed what's next in the putting this all together. The white panels go here, and the DSP triangles go here, and all 3 of them, and then the other side as well. So to finish up this card, all I did was stamped some of these starfish onto some of the scraps that I had. You will have a good bit of scraps left over. And after I stamped it, I went ahead and colored it, and then I fussy cut with the Cutter B scissors, and then I just glued it on. So I also glued down some sequins here and there, just kind of scattered, and I even decorated some of the back because I had some and I might as well have used it because I colored it and cut it. And so anyway, I went ahead and used it. So to close up this card, all you have to do is the method that you would use to close up a cardboard box. And so that's just to do one side and then the other and then the other. And then I turn it one more rotation, lift up this corner and push this corner down inside. And then that will close that up, and you can see the sparkles and shines, so the recipient can just open it up and see the message. Isn't that so much fun and really unique? Now, as always, I will have all of the measurements written in my blog, and you can find those measurements also in maymaymadeit.com, the blog that will have more pictures and the instructions written out there as well. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you give this a try. Comment if you really like it, if you're having any trouble, any kind of those things. I love to read about that. And don't forget to subscribe and like and all that fun stuff, and also ring that bell so you can hear any of the notifications when I put up new videos. And so thanks again, and have a lovely day. Bye-bye.